Good afternoon. Can we start already?
Yeah, I think we can start.
How many people do we have? Okay, good. Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining our live webinar today. My name is Sally. I'm the marketing manager here at Steltix. This is my colleague Johan Teekens. He's the Technology Director. He's the one who will be teaching you everything you want to know about JD Edwards AIS and Orchestrations. Before we start, I'd like to point out that you can leave all of your comments and questions in the chat box next to this video. Make sure you are logged into a YouTube account to be able to do so. Yeah, I think it's on this side. Sorry. Yeah, it's next to the video. If you're watching this video after the live session, don't hesitate to leave your questions and comments in the comment box below this, or send us an email at info@steltix.com, or send us a message through social media. So have fun with the webinar. We'll try to answer all of your questions, and I'll now give the floor to Johan.
Well, thank you, Sally. Great. I'm so excited to talk about orchestrations, JD Edwards, AIS. This whole thing really is making a difference nowadays. Since JD Edwards has always been like an ERP package, like a package that business users work, but now it's become a great integration software as well. And I'm so excited because it's really a game changer for the whole product. So let's start with the presentation. Let's see if I can find my slides. Yes, here it is. I can still see you, or you can still see me. So let's talk about integrations. I want to start out with integrations. So the agenda for today is I'll give a brief introduction on what AIS and Orchestrator is. I will explain a couple of scenarios, try to inspire what you can do with it. It's all stuff that we've done with it. And I will end up with a demo, how to build orchestrations and show you a bit larger orchestrations, how the whole thing works and how the whole thing fits together. So start with integration and the evolution within JD Edwards. I think many of you have seen the Z files. If you work with JD Edwards daily, it's tables that start with the Z first. You can put quite a lot of data in there. You run a batch application and it turns your data into transactions. Well, JD Edwards comes with about 173, I think, Z files on different ways of putting your data in. But often when you want to do this kind of stuff, it's not exactly right. You have to do some minor modifications to your UBEs. It's a bit of development work, but it works fine. I mean, it's a very robust way of integrating your external applications within JD Edwards. And it's like the turntable. Like the audio freaks really like the turntable because it's high quality. And that's like Z files. The thing is, it always runs in batch, so you process it by big batches. But it works fine. It's a very robust way of integrating. Another way is real-time events. A real-time event basically is when you're in a JD Edwards form. You can, for example, if you enter an address book record, you get a trigger from an external Java program using a queue, and that can trigger an external program that can process the data that gets entered within JDE. Out of the box, it has 165 real-time events integrated within JD Edwards already. A very powerful way of integration. I've seen a lot of people being very happy with it. I've also seen people struggling because you need to understand what Java queues are and handle the events properly. Real-time events only goes from within JDE to the outside world. Quite a few years already. Another way of integrating is Business Services Server, BSSV. And that's already a big step. I mean, you can talk with internet-based terminology, internet-based messages with JDAppets, XML messages. And the great thing is it goes in and out. So you can have consuming messages that if something happens in JDE, you can get a message from an external system or the internet, like already integrated within JDE is V's that validates your VATs and your addresses and your companies. That's a great way of, from within JDE, validate something on the internet and get some data back. Another way is published business services, where you can call something in JDE and process a sales order or whatever you like, calling using your BSSV, your published BSSV. Very powerful way of integrating. It's very fast. Performance is really good. It's a great way of integrating. The downside of BSSV is you need to have a developer who designs it, which takes sometimes 1 or 2 days. It needs to be checked in. You need a developer that can talk Java. So you need to have a bit smarter people who design the stuff, but it really works great. And out of the box, there's like 246 BSSVs already. A very powerful way of integrating, goes both ways. It's internet standards, at least at the time it came out. Now, a couple of years ago, AIS came out. I think it's about 2 years ago. And AIS basically turns your whole JDE front end into an API. And again, with the newer type of internet messages in JSON format, you can talk to any JDAppets form within JDAppets. And there's about 4,500, by now maybe 5,000 applications within JDAppets. Each have a couple of forms, so let's say about 12,000 types of integrations. It turns your whole JDAppet system into a big API, and I will get back to this later, showing you a bit more details about that. And more recent, Orchestrations was introduced. And Orchestrations is basically a wrapper over multiple AIS calls. So you can make a kind of script over multiple forms and say, first go in that form, then do that, and it all exposes into one big API, which even makes it a lot more powerful. So let's go a bit more in detail on the whole AIS thing. Application Integration Server. So let's say this is your JDAppet system, what you're seeing here. On the upper left corner, let's imagine that's your finance module. A lot of business functions, a lot of data, and a lot of tables. Let's say in the lower right corner you have your sales, distribution, and maybe you have case management somewhere in the back. It's a pretty complex thing, although I've rarely seen such beautiful CNC girls, but it's a big operational, it's a big operation. So for the end users, there's now the web server, which makes it all usable for the user. The user just starts a program, and there's all kinds of things that happen in the back, but the end user doesn't need to know. There's business functions being called, tables updated, but the end user sees a nice front end, and especially with the JDE front end, I think it's one of the most modern front ends that you have nowadays. I've seen quite a few applications, but I really like it. There's so much usability, so much productivity on the web server front end. But this is of course only interacting with a user that knows the JDAppets programs, that knows how to work with JDAppets. In addition, there's now AIS, and AIS is basically, for the techies, a proxy to the web server, but it drives the web server. You can see it as a kind of robot that goes into an application and does something. And you can send a message to AIS. So for example, you send a message, open up my sales order entry program, and fill in this field, fill in that field, do this, do that, click OK, click Find, click Next, click Close, click Delete. So it's basically a way to script your JDAppets front end. And the good thing is, with BSSVs or calling business functions, that's a complex thing, because then you need to know all the logic behind it. And with AIS, all the logic is transparent to the message you're sending, because you're talking to the front end program and not to the back end business functions and all the stuff that happens behind. It makes it very easy for a front-end developer to call a JDevOps program. You don't have to think. For example, if you would enter an order in JDevOps, you might be calling 20 or 30 business functions and calling a whole lot more tables and stuff that happens in the back. If you need to write that within normal code, it's a lot of thinking. And with AIS, you can just say, well, I want this program because it already exists. And even if you have like your own customized programs, it's fully available over AIS. That makes it ridiculously powerful. That's, I think, a great benefit because it turns your whole JDE system into a programmable system, API, like a programmable interface. And with that, of course, you can have like a mobile device as front end for AIS, or a Raspberry Pi that may turn a Weybridge information into AIS, into your web server, may send temperature or whatever it wants to send. Or you can even write your own web front ends, integrate with your web shop, and you don't need to rewrite all the logic. Everything's already there in your JDevOps system, even the screens. So that makes it very friendly and easy to integrate with JDevOps. And now, of course, the next step is Orchestrator. So what does Orchestrator do? You will still have your complex JDE system and your web server, and I explained there's AIS, so you can talk to your programs one by one, go in your grid, do this, do that. So the next thing is Orchestrator. And the nice thing about Orchestrator is it allows you to script multiple screens with the easy to use front end. It's a nice web-based front end, and you can basically drag and drop screens together, fields together, and that all turns into one big orchestration. And that orchestration results into a URL that you can call. So if you have a developer who doesn't even know JDevOps, but just gets the orchestration from an intelligent JDE user, a key user, somebody who knows what he's doing, maybe a basic developer who puts the orchestration in place. And that orchestration just receives a couple of parameters from your external program, which can be, again, anything, can be a website, and that runs over a couple of screens and maybe some basic knowledge and gives one big result back. So within Orchestrator you have a couple of features, and I'll be demoing some features, I'll be showing you some features, and later on I'll be showing you how in like just a couple of minutes build an orchestration. It's really that simple. So the first thing you can do in Orchestrator is service request. And a service request is very basically calling one or two or three JDE screens. And within a service request nowadays you can even call the Yahoo weather and get the weather from Yahoo, and based on the weather of Yahoo run a screen in JDE, run some scripts and action something. The next thing is cross-references. That's a powerful thing with cross-references. For example, if you have an external device that sends serial numbers to JDevOps, but maybe JDevOps doesn't recognize serial numbers and talks in item IDs. So with cross-reference you can send a serial number to JDE, it automatically gets translated into the item ID based on your cross-reference. Whitelist is interesting because for example, if you want only a specific customer, a specific address book ID to talk to that orchestration, and maybe not all address book IDs would be allowed to talk to that orchestration. So you're kind of filtering the input based on a whitelist. So this is allowed and that's not allowed. Rules is a very powerful thing. So you can have multiple service requests, and based on the outcome of the service request, run a rule. If this is true, then go to that screen. If that is true, go to that screen. That makes it all allowable to put logic in. And you can put some basic logic in, and if you want to go way beyond what JDevOps could do, you can even do some basic programming and rules. But that's only if you want to do the real advanced stuff. One of the most recent features is notifications. Notifications is a way that you can, based on actions in JDE, for example, you can create a query on a screen. the amount of held orders or something, and put a watch list on top of it. And if that breaches, you can have an orchestration run, a notification run. And that notification can include an orchestration, can send emails out, you can schedule notifications, and by scheduling notifications, you can again run your service requests or run things in JDE. So this whole Orchestration Studio and Orchestrator makes life so much easier that you can really do integrations in a matter of hours now with JDevets. And I've seen a lot of new stuff from Oracle that's coming. I'm not going to in that deep at the moment, but it's really, really very powerful. This whole thing is going to grow immense. That's the stuff that I've seen that's coming is really so exciting. I would say that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this product. All these new features is because it's changing the way you think about your JDevets system. It used to be a user system, but now in addition, you can have like a big transaction system you put in the corner and you talk to it from any other application or any device that you like. So let's go into a couple of examples. One of the things that once the whole AIS came out is that I noticed, oh, I can now get my watch lists. And a watch list, like I said, is a number from something that happens in JDevets. So, and I needed a challenge myself actually to learn the new Apple Swift language, and I thought, why not build a quick watch list mobile app? So I put it for free in the Apple Store, feel free to play with it. But what it does, it's getting the watch list out of JDE, say there's 54 back orders, there's 18 credit limit changed, and if something goes in warning or even higher, you get a notification on your mobile device. Actually very simple, but it's now a way that you can have a simple integration. And I think learning the language took me 2 or 3 days, and really building this thing was a matter of hours once you understand how to talk to AIS. So it was very simple. Another thing we did, I don't know how many of you use CRM in JDevets, because CRM doesn't have like the most beautiful user interface, but the great thing about using CRM within JDevets is that it integrates with the rest of your system, because it's an ERP system. So if you use CRM in JDevets, I know there's packages out there that have more features, but most of the basic features are already available in JDevets. And if you use it in JDevets, it's completely integrated with all your master data, with finance, with sales, and then suddenly using CRM in JDevets, a package that you already have, becomes very powerful. And of course, let me try to show you one of the JDE CRM applications. Let me log into a JDE system. Let me log into a JDE system. Come on, my keyboard. It's not doing what I want to. Okay, so we're now into a standard JDE system and open up B90CB010, for example. Yes, so work with leads. I mean, all this functionality is there. What we did, we made a nice front end for CRM. crm.steltix.com. And what this does, basically, it runs a lot of JavaScript code in the browser. This is not a hosted application. All the web page is hosted somewhere. But now suddenly everything is loaded in the browser. And log on to demo.steltix.com. So everybody, please be invited to use demo.steltix.com. It's available for everybody. You can sign on with demo and have a fully functioning JDevets where you can test, try, and even this whole AIS interface and everything is available there. So this is another way of looking at exactly the same program. But see, this is great. I mean, click on the same leads application, and all my leads are here as well. I can edit them, and this is just a very simple basic front end for exactly the same applications. But if you give this to a sales guy, he knows immediately what to do. And there's no additional functionality that we built. We just built a nice front end. And for this one, we've been using Oracle Jet, which is a very powerful, easy, component-based JavaScript framework. And there's all kinds of standard integrations for JDappets with this as well. So it's just a matter of building the front end. And once you have the front end, it's reusing everything that you already have in your JDappet system. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Another thing we've done is Dropzone. I like that product as well. It actually started out with a simple question from a customer with a user that had an Excel, and there he was maintaining all his lead times and his safety stock. And he was asking like, well, I need to key in everything in JDappets all the time. Can you do something smart for me? Of course I thought, because we have AIS. So if you can connect your Excel into AIS, then all those transactions gets processed in JDE. Well, I sent the whole idea to one of our developers, and he came back with the whole Dropzone idea. And what he did basically is make a nice web interface with all the logic already in the web interface, and you drag and drop your Excel on that web page. And that web page interprets your Excel and turns all your records from Excel into transactions in JDE, and uses AIS to open the program, key in the values, and for some actions, for some data. For example, if you enter a customer, you might feel 3, 4, or 5 forms. Well, no problem. AIS can handle that. And with it basically reads the data from your Excel, opens the first screen, keys in the data, opens the second screen, keys in the data, the third. And of course, if you make a mistake somewhere in Excel, well, no problem. It returns the error messages that the user would see back into your Excel. And Dropzone allows you to download from JDE, allows you to upload, change your data and upload it back in JDE, to modify data in JDE. Well, here, of course, we have to put in the logic of the forms that you're using. So from my understanding, I think we have about 70 different forms that can be used with Dropzone that allow you to use Excel with JDE. And it's not just using Excel with JDE, because all your existing logic is being used. You're not putting just something with ODBC in a database or just some integration. No, it's really using your front-end application that you would see in JDappets. So this is another way of like a user making the user's life easy with JDappets. This was, I think, already a long time ago. I just had a call, and I saw data from, I think, 2 years ago. So we did a project for a customer. We migrated World to Enterprise 1, and they had about 20 interfaces. And they were all like CSV interfaces. And initially we designed and spec'd it out to build UBEs, batch applications that a developer would build, get promoted through development and PY and PD. And then it would work perfectly fine, and it probably would have worked perfectly fine. Until we said, well, all the logic that we're trying to accomplish is already available in JDappets. So why not use AIS? And that turned the whole project, made its life so much easier. Because now we're using JDappets logic. And the way that this whole integration was developed was more in a matter of hours than instead of days. It was making life so much easier to do the whole integration, because you create a couple of orchestrations, and those orchestrations run all the logic in JDappets already. And creating orchestrations is really something I'll show you later in a bit, how easy it is to create an orchestration in JDappets. Oh, AppShare. AppShare is another thing, a whole iteration of what we've done with mobile apps and in the past. This is an initiative we're just starting, and I really would like to show you this as well. This is so cool. And we're building this in JavaScript as well. So let's go to the AppShare page. Yeah, of course, appshare.steltix.com. Feel free to put it on your mobile device or try it out. Go to appshare.steltix.com and connect to demo.steltix.com, or feel free to put in your own AIS server if you have it already. I see that more and more customers use AIS. So just put in your AIS credentials, and now in the screen it's running a JavaScript that runs all the logic. And again, here there's no intelligent background processing. So what we've done here, I just connected to an AIS server, and it says I'm connected. So we put in some example apps that we're just working out to see what we can do. And again, we build a watchlist application. So here I'm seeing my watchlist that are available on demo.steltix.com. So I want a couple of favorites. Let's see, this. Active promotions. Go to favorites. And here it's now fetching live my watchlist from JDevOps. Just a simple integration, but we just built a front end for what's already in JDevOps here. Another example, works with the jobs. Address book, for example, is a nice thing. It's just a JDevOps address book, but just a nice front end so that people can work with it a lot easier. Let's select companies. Yeah, you can even do a search. Brazil company, select the Brazil company, change some data in it maybe, and save it and go back. It's actually updating JDevOps because it's just another front end for the same thing. Another thing we've done is actually do a simple barcode scanning thing. So here on a web page, of course, it's nice to be able to barcode scanning from your web page, but how would you do it? So because Android is just running a browser, let's show it how it runs on a mobile device. So here's my thing. Yes. So here's my mobile device, and it's just an Android device, but it's another barcode scanner, and it's online on Wi-Fi and with the same app share that I'm now starting, and now it's suddenly running on a barcode scanner. Same application. Well, let's log into demo.steltix.com. And again, we're connected. So, while being connected, let's start the same barcode scanning, inventory transfer. And as you see, this could be a very usable application to use in your warehouse. And I can actually scan with this. So let's start with the branch. Let's try it out. Yes, it picked it up, branch M30. I want to do it from the default location, so I'm just going to scan an item. It's a bit tricky when you have everything on 184. Not scanning the wrong barcode. Okay, I got 992 quantity. So this browser on my Android device has some JavaScript in it that connected to the AIS server and got the quantity back. Well, I don't want to transfer everything that's in the demo system because there's always people that use more data. Let's scan for 2. Alright, I got 2 now to transfer. So where do I want to transfer? Let's scan my location. Boop. Okay, no, it's ready to process. Let's transfer 2 bikes. Click the process. And well, feel free to go in demo.steltix.com and you should see batch number 24089 as a batch that was just transferred. It's that easy. So this is another way of building a front end on top of the JDevOps AIS. So let's see if I can get my screen back. Yes. These are all just ways to integrate with AIS and orchestrations, and I really hope it inspires you a bit. What you could do and the ideas that are possible with this. So now I want to demo you how to create a very simple orchestration. I'm really going to demo you the most basic orchestration you can think of. Let's go in Orchestration Studio. Orchestration Studio is a standalone web-based application which it allows you to create orchestrations, of course. So this is Orchestration Studio, and exactly the same icons as I just showed you are available in the current version of Orchestration Studio. Let's click Orchestrations. Well, there's two orchestrations here that I'm going to show a bit more details on later on. But now let's see how difficult it is to create a very basic, simple orchestration. Yeah, let's build an orchestration. Let's say on your website you want item availability available. So what we would do as an end user in your JDabbit system, I got my session still open, go out and let's go into the P4100. Yeah, that's will be a nice idea. So work with item availability by location. For branch plant M30, let's check the default location, and for item number 220. We're really into the bikes still. As long as you work with demo data, it's your bicycle shop. So there's 366 quantity available. And let's say I want to send a message to JDabbit, give me for item number 220 the item quantity available. So let's build that orchestration and see how simple it is. So I'm going to create an orchestration with the name, oh, still there, orchestration item available. And the things that we need to put in, that we put on the screen of JDabbit, was one thing we put in branch plant. So let's say branch plant. A branch plant is a string. Another thing that we put in was location. So location, string. Another thing that we put in was, of course, the item number. And I'm going to use short item number, which is numeric. Okay, let's save the orchestration. And I'm going to do the most basic thing you can imagine, create just a service request that fetches your item availability. So within the orchestration, an orchestration is a kind of umbrella that you can put all kinds of stuff in. So let's create a new service request to JDabbit within my orchestration. Oh, still there. That's good. So what I'm going to do here is now put in my program that I want to call, like an end user would do it. And the form that I put in here, item availability. This is the form I'm going. What I'm going to do now is fetch, load the form. And here you see exactly what you see as an end user on the screen, but as an end user you see all the fields and the grids, and it's all here vertically. So here are the buttons I can click. I'm not going to click a button, but I'm going to fill in a couple of fields. So in the field branch plant, I'm going to fill in branch plant. And I'm going to add it to my service request. Here, branch plant, set control value, branch plant. Location, I'm going to put in, and within my grid, like you see here, the QBE of my grid is available. Of course it's available. And put in my item. As an end user then, I would click find. And of course, I have to mention what I want as my result. So I want 3 results. I want quantity available in this case, quantity inbound, and quantity outbound. That's it. I think we're done. This is how easy it is to make an orchestration. So I just save my service request, go back into my orchestration, add my orchestration, service request available. Say branch plant from the orchestration goes into the branch plant for the service request, location. In this case, I'm just doing a one-on-one mapping, but you might have a service request that outputs data and you want to put in the next service request output from the other service request. So you can do a lot of advanced stuff here. But for this demo, I'm just keeping it very, very basic and very simple. Of course, we need to display how the output should look like. I actually just want all my fields back. And here you can even see what the output message would look like. Something like this. So let's go back, save the orchestration, and we're done. So this is how easy it is to make the most simple orchestration. As a feature within AIS, there's a tester client coming with it. So let's log into the tester client. It's available within AIS. So let's see the orchestration, a personal orchestration here. I haven't mentioned that actually, but orchestrations, service requests, notifications, schedules, anything that you create here are user-defined objects within JDAdvance. And that's fully integrated within the object management workbench in JDE. It's fully change controlled, you can promote them, and it's fully managed. But here I just see that I created item availability orchestration. So let's key in the same data that I just put in, default location, and my item 220. Run, and what basically happens now, the URL of my JDAdvance web server or my AIS web server /JDE REST /orchestrator /org item available. That is the endpoint URL for this request. And what it basically does, it just sends this message to that URL. Like if you would have a normal website and you would like post your user ID and password and click submit, it would post those two values to your web server. Now basically here it's posting this message to your AIS web server. And this is the result. This is something you could consume in your website, in your mobile device, wherever you want it to be. The format you see here is JSON format, which is the most standardized internet message format at this point in time. Most modern applications can talk this kind of language, kind of text. So this is how easy it is to create your own orchestration. And all the logic in JDE, everything was abstracted because I just sent this simple message. And how to build a message like this, well, if you know how to work with Excel or concatenate, just put it all together and put the values in. And that's it. So building a simple orchestration. Let's go to the next. I want to demo you a bit more complex orchestration. We're going to enter a STOT order. It's a transfer order from one company to the other. And we're going to enter it, we're going to confirm it, do a shipment, send out a notification and send emails out, and of course a notification within JDAdvance. So we're going to start the P4210, manually do the P4205, and then the notification wakes up, it's scheduled, it sends an email out, and it launches the notification from within JDAdvance. So let me quickly demo how it works in JDAdvance first. Let's sign on to the JDAdvance system. Yes, okay. Let's go to the P4210 ZJD007. It's a STOT application and do from branch plant M30 to branch plant P30. Do one, again, a bike. Okay, it's order 188. Oh, let's put it on here. So for this demo, I'm gonna advance it myself to the right status. Boom. Show all columns. before I can do the shipment. Just a techie, not a very advanced functional consultant. So let's put it in the right status this way. It's just another way of doing it, and then do my shipment. You will find 188 and ship it. Okay, so now the order is in status 540, 560. Let's check. 188 was the order number. Order number I said 188. Do a find. It's in 560, 580. So now one of the new things is notifications, and you can subscribe to it. I already subscribed to my notification. Actually, more people subscribe to it, I see. So now this notification should get scheduled and should process the sales order and put it in 580, 582. I already see my email coming in. So here there's an email coming in, order 188 of ST has been picked up. Let's see, I also told it to create a text file. So yes, 188, open with, well, maybe Visual Studio. Let's see, it's opening up. I'm not too much into waiting. Let's open up Text Wrangler, it's quicker. Here it is. So it's already, this is all the details for my order, but then in text format. It exported it as a text file, why not? It's all possible. So let's quickly show how the orchestration looks like. Let's log back into Orchestration Studio. So the first thing I've done is create a schedule. Since there's now a scheduler, you can choose to have orchestrations run every 5 minutes or every minute. The format is to the Quartz scheduler. It's very similar if you know cron, or you can even choose to do it even easier, run every 6 minutes. If you want to do it more advanced, it's a very powerful tool to schedule every day, every month, first day of the month, whatever you want to schedule it. So let's go back to orchestrations. Notifications, because we're triggering a notification. And within the notification, let's open up the notification. There's no input. It's running an orchestration that actually has these values were put in the notification. There's a rule that, so if it finds an order number, it sends out the message, and you can even use the variables from your orchestration in the message you're sending out. It's very flexible, and it says we are run every minute. So let's open up the orchestration. It's again not a very complex orchestration. It gets header information from your sales orders. If it finds something, get the detail information and do a status update. There's one specific thing I did here to get the file output. Like I showed you before, you can do manipulate output. And within manipulate output, you can create a groovy code. And basically the whole output string, like we saw from the orchestrator, you receive it as a string, and now I'm putting the string together as an XML here, for example, and write it to a file system. That's some basic stuff, advanced stuff that you can do to make your own file formats and still do CSVs if you don't want to talk JSON messages. Just another way of doing orchestrations. So let's get back to my thing, my PowerPoint. So what we've done, we did the notification, we got the email, and the whole thing. Yeah, this is exactly what we did. We showed the orchestrator. This is this is what we got. We got the orchestration notification. We did some basic scripting to make a nice file output, orchestrations, rules, schedules. It's not that complex. It's like writing. It's child's play nowadays to just write the whole thing together. So let's see if there's any questions at the moment. I think we have a couple more minutes left. I don't see a lot of questions at the moment. Hail Johan. Oh, some work to be done on grid lines and warnings, but still promising. Yeah, oh yeah. Of course, that's about Dropzone. Dropzone is a very powerful product. I like it. We're continuously evolving the product. I like all these things. We're continuously evolving, improving stuff. And yeah, we're rolling these technologies out to quite a few customers at the moment. We have quite a large development team in South Africa, and we see quite a few South African customers running this kind of stuff in their warehouses at the moment for scanning. And like with the app share interfaces, almost every project we do, we try to use the whole AIS. Actually, tomorrow I have the whole day at the customer implementing this stuff on another. Well, again, it's a WMS thing. It's very favored, I guess, for WMS. But we've done GPS configurations, so you can track a device where it is using your GPS, temperature sensors. There's quite a few applications that you can use. Yeah, I got a question here. Yes, I'll be doing a similar thing at Collaborate in a couple of weeks. Thanks for the question. So, if you have any more questions, I don't see a lot of questions in the chat at the moment. Feel free to ask. Feel free to call us. Feel free to contact us. We're there. Oh, there's one more question. I just got a question from.
Are you presenting this at Collaborate?
Yeah, I just mentioned I'm presenting this at Collaborate. Sorry, Sally was mentioning another question. So yes, for now, I would say thank you very much for joining the online stream. I hope it inspired you, but that's actually the whole intention of this, to inspire you to see what this technology does and how you can use it and what you can do with it. So thank you very much for attending, and we'll try to set up another stream very soon because there's so much more new stuff that's coming out. It keeps going with JDAB software. So again, thank you very much.
Can you see the slides? Question.
Oh, of course, the slides, no problem. We'll be sharing the slides. I'll ask Sally in some kind of way to the same kind of communication to share the slides as well. So it was my pleasure. Thank you very much again.